Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the intricate, messy, and absolutely captivating world of Genoa City. We have so much to unpack today, and honestly, some of these storylines are just tearing at our heartstrings. Let's just settle in, take a deep breath, and explore the intense drama unfolding on The Young and the Restless. You know, when I really sit down and think about everything happening in Las Vegas right now, my heart just aches for the Newman family. It's like they can never truly escape the ghosts of their past. The situation at that abandoned, dusty gas station is nothing short of a waking nightmare. Nick Newman, a man who has always tried to be the moral anchor of his family, found himself completely broken, collapsing on the cold, dirty floor. He went there with Adam to save his loved ones, but the tainted fentanyl that Matt Clark so maliciously planted completely overtook him, watching Nick gasp for air, watching his life slowly slip away. It's just devastating. You can almost feel the suffocating panic in that room. Adam, who practically encouraged Nick to take the job, must be drowning in a level of guilt that is simply unimaginable. He thought he was helping his brother cope with the withdrawal, but instead, he almost became the architect of his demise. And then, just when all hope seemed entirely lost, like a sudden burst of light in a suffocating darkness, Sienna Bacall arrives. It's almost poetic, isn't it? She bursts into that terrifying scene with Narcan, pulling Nick back from the absolute brink of death. When you think about Sienna's own tragic history, losing her brother to a devastating overdose, this moment becomes so deeply profound. She couldn't save her own flesh and blood, but she managed to save Nick. For Noah Newman, who was chained up and forced to watch his father die, Sienna must look like an absolute angel sent from heaven. The overwhelming gratitude, the sheer, intoxicating relief in Noah's eyes. You can just see how this traumatic event is going to bond him to Sienna in a way that is incredibly deep and perhaps dangerously blinding. Love forged in the fires of trauma is a very powerful, unpredictable thing. But, and there is always a but in Genoa City, isn't there? While Noah is looking at Sienna through the lens of absolute devotion and love, Sharon Newman is seeing something entirely different. Oh, Sharon. My heart truly bleeds for her. She has been through so much psychological torture at the hands of Matt Clark over the decades. Her mind doesn't allow her to just accept the miracle at face value anymore. As she watches Sienna, the gears in Sharon's head are turning, grinding with intense, crippling paranoia. How did Sienna find them so perfectly? Why did she have the Narcan ready at the exact right second? Sharon is terrified. She genuinely suspects that Sienna might not be a savior at all, but rather a Trojan horse, a carefully placed pawn in Matt Clark's twisted, sick game. The emotional divide this is going to create between Sharon and Noah is just tragic. A mother trying to protect her son, and a son fiercely defending the woman who saved his father's life. As for Matt Clark, the man is a phantom, a master manipulator who thrives on the psychological devastation of his victims. Even though his lethal trap didn't claim Nick's life this time, you have to wonder, isn't this exactly what Matt wanted? To plant seeds of doubt, to turn the Newmans against each other, to have Sharon questioning everyone's loyalty. Matt might be backing off for a little while, retreating into the shadows to let the paranoia fester, but we all know he isn't finished. He's just waiting, watching his twisted seeds bloom into full-blown family warfare. The tension is palpable. And you just know the next strike will be even more devastating. And speaking of devastating aftermaths, when Victor Newman finally reunites with Nick after this horrific ordeal, you would expect a moment of tender, fatherly relief, right? But this is Victor we are talking about. The man operates on a completely different emotional frequency. Instead of simply holding his son and thanking the heavens he is alive, Victor immediately goes on the offensive. He pressures Nick, backing him into an emotional corner, demanding that he confess to his severe addiction. It's that classic, ruthless Victor Newman brand of tough love. But you really have to pause and ask yourself, is this what Nick needs right now? Nick is physically shattered, emotionally raw, and Victor is treating him like a hostile witness. It's heartbreaking because you know Victor loves him, but his inability to show vulnerability just creates more walls between them. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about another kind of warfare happening back in Genoa City, the absolute and mitigated destruction of Phyllis Summers. I have to admit, watching Phyllis being backed into a corner is always a thrilling experience, but this time, it feels different. It feels incredibly dark and incredibly final. Victor Newman has unleashed his ultimate weapon, a flawless, AI-generated cache of evidence that perfectly mirrors Phyllis's actual, hidden crimes. It is a masterpiece of corporate blackmail. When Victor and Victoria ambushed her in her empty office, the sheer coldness in Victoria's eyes was chilling. Victoria is strategizing, calculating every single move, completely determined to take Phyllis down and reclaim the Newman empire. There is no mercy in her heart, only the cold, hard logic of a hostile takeover. Phyllis is a survivor. We all know that. She has clawed her way out of impossible situations before, but this feels like an inescapable trap. And to make matters infinitely worse, Christine Blairo-Malodi is back in the picture as the district attorney. The history there. The bitter, violent, decades-long rivalry between Christine and Phyllis. Christine confronting Phyllis, looking her dead in the eye, and making it absolutely, unequivocally clear that she will not hesitate to prosecute her using this new evidence. It's a terrifying moment. Christine has the power, she has the motive, and she has the perfectly forged weapon handed to her by Victor. It's almost as if the universe is finally calling in all of Phyllis's debts at once. You can literally feel the suffocating panic radiating from Michael Baldwin and Lauren Fenmore. Michael, who is usually the smartest legal mind in the room, is utterly terrified. He knows that with Christine at the helm, there is no plea deal, no magical legal loophole. He is begging Phyllis. Literally begging his best friend to swallow her massive pride and sign the company back over to Victor. The emotional weight of this is staggering. Phyllis is standing there, her entire identity wrapped up in her corporate empire, but she is being forced to weigh that against her freedom. If she fights, she goes to federal prison. She loses Daniel. She loses Summer. Is her pride really worth losing her children forever? It's a gut-wrenching internal battle, and watching her stubbornness slowly crack under the weight of this reality is just phenomenal television. Now, let's take a deep breath and move over to the Winters family, because the emotional whiplash in this storyline is just incredible. We have been watching Lily Winters endure an absolute waking nightmare as her biological father, Malcolm, lay dying of aplastic anemia. The desperation, the lack of matches, the fading hope. It has been agonizing to witness, but then, out of nowhere, a miracle happens. Kane Ashby, Lily's ex-husband, a man with whom she shares such a deeply complicated, painful, yet profoundly loving history, steps up. The test results come back, and he is a perfect bone marrow match. When Lily hears this news, the sheer, staggering relief that washes over her is enough to bring tears to your eyes. It's a moment of pure grace. I can only imagine what is going through Lily's mind in that exact moment. All the past betrayals, all the marital strife, the divorce. All of it just melts away, replaced by an overwhelming, profound gratitude. Kane is offering a piece of his own body to save the patriarch of her family. It's a deeply heroic, selfless act that forever alters the dynamic between them. You have to wonder, does this reignite a spark between them? When someone saves a life so close to your heart, it creates an unbreakable bond. Kane isn't just a former husband anymore, he is the savior of the Winters family. It is a beautiful, deeply emotional turning point that changes the entire trajectory of their lives. But, of course, not everyone is capable of seeing the beauty in this miracle. Devin Winters. Oh, Devin. Watching his descent into this dark, toxic cynicism is genuinely heartbreaking. Instead of rejoicing that Malcolm's life will be saved, Devin is completely consumed by suspicion. He is relentlessly interrogating Lily, questioning Kane's motives, assuming that Kane is only doing this to manipulate his way back into Lily's life and grab a piece of the family fortune. Devin's inability to accept a selfless act is a glaring symptom of how deeply broken he is inside. His unresolved trauma is turning him into a deeply bitter, alienating force, and it's so painful to watch him push his sister away during a time when they should be celebrating. And Devin's anger doesn't stop there. It is bleeding into every single aspect of his life, completely incinerating his marriage to Abby. The news that the court has upheld Mariah Copeland's plea deal, meaning she won't be going to federal prison, has sent Devin into an absolute, unhinged rage. He is obsessed, completely blinded by his need for vengeance against the woman who kidnapped their son, Dominic. While his anger is understandable on some level, it has mutated into something dark and destructive. He cannot let it go. He is holding onto this hatred like a lifeline, completely ignoring the massive collateral damage it is causing to his own soul. Abby Winters is watching the man she loves turn into a monster right before her eyes. She is exhausted, emotionally drained, and deeply terrified of the environment this is creating for their son. Abby confronts Devin, strictly warning him that his behavior is crossing a dangerous line. She begs him to stop focusing so heavily on this vendetta, to rein in his explosive anger, and to prioritize the peace of their family, but Devin is too far gone. He is deaf to her pleas. The tragedy here is that in his obsessive quest to punish Mariah for threatening his family, Devin is actively destroying his family from the inside out. The looming threat of a brutal custody war is hanging over them, and it's just devastating to see a love story crumble into such bitter resentment. It really makes you pause and reflect on how trauma shapes these characters. Devin is trapped in the past, unable to heal, while Lily is desperately trying to grasp onto the future. The contrast between Lily's tearful gratitude toward Kane and Devin's explosive rage over Mariah is a masterclass in emotional storytelling. It shows us that healing is a choice, and right now, Devin is choosing destruction. It makes you wonder if Abby will eventually have to take drastic measures just to protect her own sanity and the well-being of her child. Let's transition over to the Abbott family, because the drama there is reaching absolute critical mass. Jack Abbott, the man who has always prided himself on his legacy, his home, his family, has been utterly broken. Diane Jenkins pulled off the ultimate, cruelest betrayal imaginable. She didn't just break his heart. She legally evicted him from the Abbott mansion, the very home that holds the soul of his family. Watching Jack wander aimlessly, stripped of his dignity, financially ruined, and emotionally devastated, is truly difficult to stomach. He trusted Diane against the advice of literally everyone, and this is his reward. The sheer, suffocating sorrow he is experiencing is palpable. But Jack is not entirely alone, even though he feels like it. Nikki Newman, his eternal confidant, his former love, the woman who has always understood the deepest parts of his soul, is stepping into the fray. Nikki is furious, not just at Diane, but at Victor for his immense and yielding stubbornness regarding their own marriage. So, what do to desperate, heartbroken, powerful people do? They decide to execute the nuclear option. Jack and Nikki are conspiring to fake a highly public, intensely romantic reunion. Their goal is to manipulate Victor and Diane, to stoke the fires of jealousy so intensely that their respective spouses are forced to realize what they are losing and fight to get them back. It is a massive, incredibly dangerous gamble. You have to wonder, do they really know what they are playing with? Faking a romance when there is such a profound, historical foundation of real love between them is like playing with matches in a fireworks factory. As Jack attempts to make Diane believe that he is driving straight into Nikki's arms for a romantic rekindling, the lines between fiction and reality are bound to blur. Nikki is actively manipulating Victor, using his possessive nature against him. But what happens if Victor's reaction is wrath instead of romance? What happens if Jack and Nikki look into each other's eyes during this charade and realize the feelings never actually left? It's a thrilling, terrifying prospect that could completely rewrite the landscape of Genoa City. Diane, meanwhile, is sitting in her stolen mansion, wrapped in her arrogant victory, but the paranoia is already creeping in. She might have won the real estate, but she has lost everything else. The psychological toll of knowing Jack might truly move on with Nikki, her ultimate rival, is going to eat away at Diane's sanity. And little does Diane know, she has created a terrifying new enemy in her own son. Kyle Abbott is watching the destruction of his father, and it has completely changed him. The boy who once tried to see the good in his mother has finally opened his eyes to the absolute darkness within her. Kyle is no longer the idealistic young man trying to keep the peace. He has embraced a cold, calculating ruthlessness that is genuinely shocking. When Patty Williams' delusional, deeply unstable, and historically obsessed with Jack, tried to insert herself into Jack's tragedy as some sort of twisted savior. Kyle didn't just ask her to leave. He cornered her. He threatened her with the full, terrifying power of Jabbit Cosmetics, promising to throw her into the darkest, most isolated psychiatric confinement imaginable if she ever went near his father again. Patty, who knows exactly how to mess with people's minds, tried to provoke him, but Kyle was an immovable wall of ice. He is the new generation of Abbott power, and Patty has suddenly realized that she is completely outmatched. Kyle is making it clear, anyone who tries to victimize Jack Abbott will have to go through him first. It's fascinating to watch this shift in Kyle. He is grieving the loss of his mother's soul, realizing that Diane is truly a monster, and in response, he is becoming a fiercely protective, almost dark figure. Patty Williams, who usually thrives on chaos, actually felt genuine terror. She tried to play her usual mind games, trying to provoke Kyle, trying to make him her next victim, but Kyle's protective fury is an impenetrable shield. It's a brilliant evolution of his character, stepping up to be the patriarch when Jack is too broken to stand. You can't help but feel a sense of awe at how quickly Kyle has adapted to the brutal realities of his family's legacy. Finally, let's take a moment to look at a storyline that is offering a brief, albeit fragile, glimmer of light amidst all this darkness: Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra. We know the devastating storm that is coming for them: the high-risk twin pregnancy, the bed rest, Billy's impending trauma-induced paranoia. But right now, in this specific moment, Billy is trying so incredibly hard to be the perfect partner. He is stepping up the romance, pouring all of his affection into Sally, trying to make her feel like the absolute queen of his world. It's a beautiful, tender effort to build a fortress of love around them. It is so deeply bittersweet to watch. Billy is bringing her roses, making sweet promises of beautiful nights together, pouring on the charm that made Sally fall for him in the first place. Sally is naturally swept up in it, captivated by his intense, focused love. But when you look closely, when you really analyze the psychology of this moment, you can almost see the cracks forming. Billy's grand romantic gestures are, in many ways, a desperate attempt to mask his own underlying, suffocating terror. He is a man who lost his daughter, Delia, in the most tragic way possible. The prospect of having children again is terrifying him on a cellular level. And Sally, she carries the profound and healed wound of losing baby Eva. Both of them are walking into this new pregnancy carrying massive, heavy suitcases of trauma. Billy's intense romance is his way of trying to control the narrative, to create a perfect, safe bubble around Sally before the reality of the medical complications shatters it. He wants to believe that if he loves her hard enough, if he is romantic enough, he can ward off the tragedy that always seems to follow him. It is a beautiful, deeply human reaction to fear. He is using romance as a shield against the cruel uncertainties of life. As we watch Billy hold Sally, making these grand promises, you just can't help but feel a lump in your throat. We know the ultrasound is going to reveal the complications. We know Billy's protective instincts are going to mutate into a toxic, suffocating hypervigilance that will push Sally to the brink. But for this one fleeting moment, they are just a couple in love, dreaming of a beautiful future. It is the calm before the absolute storm, and it makes the impending heartbreak that much more tragic. You just want to freeze time and let them be happy, even if it's just for a little while. So, as we look at the landscape of Genoa City right now, it is a tapestry of profound trauma, desperate gambles, and fragile miracles. From the dusty, blood-stained floors of a Vegas gas station to the cold, corporate boardrooms of Newman Enterprises, every single character is fighting a battle for their soul. Nick is fighting for his life and his father's elusive approval. Phyllis is fighting for her freedom against impossible odds. Devin is fighting his own destructive demons. Jack is fighting for his dignity with a dangerous romantic ruse, and Billy is fighting the ghosts of his past with roses and promises. It is incredibly compelling, deeply emotional storytelling, and I honestly cannot wait to see how these intricate, messy lives continue to collide in the days to come.